Welcome everyone to this episode 7 of the Knockout. We got another fun matchup coming up. Today we got Jean Grey / the Phoenix versus, John Constantine. So I'm very much looking forward to this magic versus mutant fight. So time to bring in our guest, shall we? Because I had nothing further to add for the introduction. Please welcome Mr. Geek Aficionado for Jean Grey and Phoenix. Welcome. How's it going?
Good. Happy to be on the show.
Great, thank you. Yeah, welcome. And Mr. Comic Concierge, or Dan, as his name is. So,
Thanks for having
welcome,
me.
Dan.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. So, I'm very interested in both your guys' arguments. Or particularly, normally, like I said, magic is definitely interesting. So, Phoenix is very powerful, but magic seems to be a level playing field. At least my experience this last episode here when Zatanna beat Cosmic Spider-Man, so magic can be useful. So, how this is going to go is Geek Aficionado is elected to go second in the opening statement and closing. So that leaves Dan here to open the argument. So you each get one official challenge, to use in your argument, whether you think that this is unfair, that they shouldn't be allowed, this would never happen, yada, yada, yada. So however you choose to play, I kind of leave it open up to you. So, and then lost my thought for a second there. So if someone challenges, I'll hear both your arguments and then decide who gets to carry on. So like I said, location challenge, weapon challenge, teammate come in kind of challenge, fair, foul, whatever. Well, how's it going? So any questions?
No, sounds good.
All right. So while we are getting that started, we'll have Dan here to have his opening statement. So take it away whenever you're ready.
So you already mentioned it up top. This is, magic is that element that there are so many surprises. There's almost an amount of unlimited possibilities when it comes to magic, especially when you have someone like John Constantine. There's no doubt that the Phoenix is an extremely powerful being for sure, but I think the key to this matchup isn't John Constantine versus the Phoenix. It's John Constantine versus Jean Grey. And what's Jean Grey really good at? Dying. It's like one of her biggest accomplishments when it comes to comics. She's really good at dying. And I think, too, one thing that John Constantine has going for him in any situation is he's not someone that ever gets overwhelmed. He doesn't necessarily fear death. I mean, he literally dated Satan. So he's a guy that is not going to be freaked out by seeing someone like the Phoenix, where a lot of other characters were. I think it's actually a good matchup in that sense because John Constantine plays around with gods all the time, characters that are on the same level of the Phoenix, even though the Phoenix, of course, is a cosmic level being. So because of that familiarity, and the fact that, he's done things like go toe-to-toe with Darkseid, he summoned the Phantom Stranger. He, is a person that is willing to make choices I think other heroes won't, because he understands the greater good and will make sacrifices or do unnecessary things that some of the more heroic or amoral characters won't do. So because of that, just his limited possibility, his attitude towards the situation, the fact that he plays things smart. He doesn't go in head first. He goes in when it's necessary. I think it's going to be really hard for Phoenix to really figure out John Constantine, because he's not someone who's going to go head first and try to overpower her, but manipulate Jean Grey the same way someone like the other psychics have done in the past, but utilizing magic. So there you go.
Awesome. Pretty good opening statement, I feel. All right, Mr. Geek Aficionado, take it away with your opening statement.
Well, that was well said. A few holes in your logic and your theory there. First off, Jean Grey is not good at dying. She is preeminently a person who is willing to sacrifice herself to protect other people, especially people that she loves, and that doesn't make her easily somebody who's going to be taken out, mind you. But that's where that falls. Second thing, Mastermind manipulated Jean Grey, but he also had the help of Emma Frost, a telepath, by putting his images into her head and messing with her mind over a long period of time. In a head-to-head, straight-up battle, Jean Grey is going to have no difficulty figuring out any kind of plan that John Constantine has because she's a telepath, and she's going to have I wouldn't say no, but less difficulties being able to protect herself or prevent anything from happening. If there's an incantation, she can keep him from speaking it. If there's something, a movement that he's got to do in order to complete that, she's also telekinetic. She can prevent him from moving. So there's no scenario that I really see where this plays out that John Constantine really has any kind of a chance against her, whether he's afraid of her or not.
Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. So, I will start things off. And again, what we said magic, I said, is a big power, but then again, Phoenix is literally almost magic in herself. I mean, I know little about X-Men other than what I saw from the TV show and comics, so I could very easily miscalculate Jean Grey. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems it's kind of like a life force, and it's equally as powerful like Cosmic Spider-Man. So what are the lost my thought. What are the pros, I guess, for each character? What are the strengths that's going to help the other overcome?
Well, I think John Constantine's strength is that he's very versatile to the situation that's necessary. Regarding being able to utilize psychic ability, he has shown he's able to reject that in many instances. He's also able to kind of read a situation, what's necessary. And regarding being able to, like, for example, when he went toe-to-toe with Darkseid, he made Darkseid believe that he was in another dimension in which was destroyed. And I think looking at power scale, Darkseid and Phoenix are probably pretty equal. I think he's able to do something of that nature with someone like Darkseid. I think he's able to do something similar with that of Phoenix. I think his cons is the fact that ultimately he is human. I mean, that is his biggest con. So that is what, of course, Jean Grey and the Phoenix has above him. He has to kind of continuously be one step ahead in order for that, for that to happen. But he typically is. And like I said, he's not afraid to run away when necessary. He's not, which is maybe not something Jean Grey is going to be used to, is the fact that, he's not going to, maybe it will cost the fact that she destroys an entire city or what have you, but he'll understand that in the long run, that's what's necessary in order to do what's needed. So I think that's his biggest strength, is versatility, and the fact that he's dealt with beings like this. But again, his downside is that the fact that he is human, and with that, there are faults there.
Okay. What's Jean Grey?
With Jean Grey, with Phoenix, I mean, she is a mutant. She has a mutant power set of telekinesis and telepathy, and then beyond that, when you add the Phoenix power of cosmic life and destruction and rebirth, she has an unlimited range of power to tap into, with which she can use her skills. You mentioned, Dan, that she can, that Constantine, has gone up against Darkseid. All right. Well, Darkseid has Omega beams, right? So besides being, big and strong and ugly and commanding hordes of scary people, what else does he really have going for him, right? That Constantine, became a match for, besides playing dead.
Interesting.
One thing I always consider with the Phoenix, though, is that the Phoenix is a very unstable force. Like, we've seen that a lot with the comics, where even most recently in the Avengers comics, Phoenix will kind of have a mind of its own. And I think that's where John Constantine would try to pick the Phoenix Force against Jean Grey, utilize it, make a conflict happen there, because we've seen the Phoenix go into other people. We've seen the Phoenix be erratic, turn Jean Grey evil, whatever that may be. To me, he'll pick out what is the biggest weakness or what is the biggest strength for a character and use that against him. And knowing the versatility, knowing the vulnerability of Jean Grey and both the Phoenix, I think there is opportunity there to exploit. Of course, wouldn't be easy. Phoenix is a powerful being for a reason, but I think if anyone's able to do that, it would be someone like Constantine.
So how would he do that? Constantine go about pitting the Phoenix Force against her?
I think he would probably be able to make Jean Grey believe that utilizing the Phoenix Force, she killed people very close to her, Scott, others, giving her this sense of guilt and
Does he
anger.
have that kind of power where he can
he's
manipulate her mind?
He's
definitely, like I said, he's done that with Darkseid. He made Darkseid look at and believe he was an entire another dimension that was destroyed. He's been able to manipulate people like the Phantom Stranger, who is again another cosmic level being as well. He's able to utilize that type of magic to manipulate minds in strange ways. He was able to manipulate Swamp Thing into some rather twisted ways. It's come back to haunt him in some instances, but yeah, he can manipulate people. That's probably his greatest strength, is manipulation. And again, like to the point where literally dated the devil. Like he was, they were bros in more ways than one. So I do think he would have that. But of course, I wouldn't know exactly because you're talking about two different worlds in two different universes.
And none of these people are telepathic either, so they can't read. None of them have been able to read his mind to figure out his motivations and his thoughts, where she can.
Maybe. I think there's a question there if she could or not. I think obviously Marvel has more psychic beings than DC, so we haven't seen it as much. Like I don't think he's never gone up against someone like Jean Grey or Professor X.
But we can assume that he doesn't have any side dampening.
No, he would have to try to rely on some aspect of magic, or the fact that his mind is messed up to begin with, and trying to read it is, challenging in itself. I think a lot of people.
It might be an ugly playground, but
yeah.
The fact of the matter is that if he's going to try and manipulate her, she's going to see it.
Yeah,
possibly.
If this episode of the season of What If was any indicator, the Dark Doctor Strange, there are protection spells, I'm guessing, that could be used. You mean Constantine's in the DC universe versus Marvel universe, but you'd imagine that there is the same playing field, the rules or whatever and all that. So, I mean, I would imagine that it's possible to invisible protection himself or whatever.
He's able to. He's shown the ability to control time. He's shown the ability to. He can teleport. He can swap. Go into different dimensions. He can steal powers. He stole Shazam's powers before. So, like anything that's magic related in a way is kind of at his fingertips. In a way, like John Constantine could probably rule the DC universe. He just doesn't have the motivation to do it. He'd rather just go to the pub and have a pint.
Let's consider the fact that okay, I think we might going a little too far that John Constantine can rule the DC universe. I mean, magic takes a toll on every being that uses magic, and he is limited by his physical capabilities to be able to implement that magic. Whereas again, Jean Grey can call upon the force of the Phoenix, which gives her exponentially, almost limitless capabilities of power. So that if it's a power matchup right there, I don't think there's any contest. If she's going to, if Constantine, is going to be performing some kind of magic, he's got to be able to call that up. Right, he's got to be able to think about that, and he's unprotected. I don't see a scenario where he's able to overcome her in any way, shape, or form. And if he just annoys the shit out of her, she'll just reduce him to atoms.
But the thing about Constantine is that he never goes head first in anything, so he's not going to attack her.
Neither does Jean Grey. She's not a bull rusher. She's not the Rhino. Right? She's not a smasher. She's a person who stands back, reads the situation, assesses everything, gets as much information as she can. Sometimes Phoenix has gone completely insane, and I think Jean Grey is much more even keeled than the Phoenix. I think the Phoenix, like I said, can have a mind of its own sometimes, and I think that's the other part of that. The Phoenix, I think that's the fighting factor is that the Phoenix. I don't think Jean Grey can beat the Phoenix by itself. But I think he can beat Jean Grey. I think what he would have to try to do is figure out a way to do that. And what is the dividing line there? I think it's not going to be easy. Like I said, I agree. Like if he went head to head and then like Jean Grey just showed up and like just unloaded all the Phoenix Force on him, it would he probably wouldn't have a chance. But what most likely he would do is run away and kind of picket spots because it's what he does. If you look at a lot of like every dystopian like DC
whether it be deceased or what have you, usually always you have John Constantine there because he's a survivor. He knows how to survive, and no matter the situation. Like, yes, I was being a bit facetious. I don't think he could rule the DC universe, but I think he certainly has a lot of capability that he doesn't necessarily manifest all the time because he doesn't see the need, or he has somewhat of a responsibility, understanding that, like, the danger there. He does have human, he does have to keep in mind he's human. That's for sure. Like, it takes effort to do what he has to do. But it does that. My question is, does that do it to Jean Grey too? She's still human. Like, what strength, what limits does she have under the Phoenix Force? Like, could the Phoenix unknowingly, hurt her as well as, others? I mean, it's killed other people by, Professor X, for example, unknowingly. Could that happen?
No, Professor X wasn't unknowingly killed. He was killed by Scott Summers, who was driven blind by the Phoenix's power because he was the only one wielding it. Number one, he's not telepathic, he's not telekinetic. There was a perfect blend and match for Jean Grey to be able to wield that power. And in almost everybody else that has had that power, it has gone terribly.
It's gone okay for.
But to Rachel, that point again, Jean Grey doesn't just go crazy, right? She was manipulated over an extended period of time into letting out her darker side. She was, and like I said, that was deep mind probing and manipulation, of her environment, right? The mastermind. What does he do? He's an illusionist, right? He created an illusion. He created seeded those illusions in her mind. She couldn't trust herself, right? So that's why he was able to do that. That's why he was able to change her and turn her. It wasn't the Phoenix Force that did it. It was her own. It was her own humanity, her own darkness, and her own humanity. Tell me how John Constantine can do that.
Sure.
Then we can have.
Like I said, I think he would go at what Jean Grey loves. The mastermind is trying to take control from. John Constantine wouldn't have that desire. John Constantine would be, I want to drive her insane. I want her to be fearful of the Phoenix Force. How do I do that? I make her fearful of the Phoenix Force by showing what this power can ultimately do, what it could lead to, who it could hurt, and utilize her heroism against her, saying, like, if you keep this, here's the future that it could lead to. This death. Scott Summers taking over the Phoenix Force and killing Professor X, whatever that may be. So I think, again, utilize the humanity of Jean Grey and see where it goes from there.
So so the whole thing. So when the Phoenix Force is taking over, or the Phoenix Force is corrupting her mind, or whatever it is, what's her mental status? Because if I'm a viewer watching you guys debate here, my biggest question when you talk about the whole psyche of the Phoenix and all that is the mental stability. Because if she is all powerful but cannot focus or whatever, or she's crazy and you cast strategy, I still think you can lose to somebody who is not quite as powerful but sharp as attack and can outfox you, because you can outthink, let the Phoenix waste her energy or attack blindly, and then he figures out the strategy, and then just really quickly there's a little spell there and match is over in whatever way it is. So what's the mental stability, I guess, of Jean Grey when she's being corrupted by the Phoenix Force? Because you said it poisoned her over time.
Nobody said that.
Oh, well, I thought I heard something like that.
No, anyway. I think that was a contention that was made by Dan, but no, that's not what happened. The Phoenix Force didn't corrupt her. Mastermind and Emma Frost did.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess the ultimately the point thing is that if she's being influenced in a way, how.
Sure, if somebody other than John Constantine is a telepath and an illusionist, and they can play a long game. Sure, yeah, I'm sure anything can happen over that period of time, but that's not within John Constantine's skill set.
Why couldn't John Constantine play the long game?
It's called the knockout, man. It's not called 20 years on
Some people fight like
farm.
Sugar Ray Robinson. They just they take you 10 rounds and they pick their spots and then they win by decision. I mean,
We're talking about a straight up fight, right?
Well, it's however you
that's
guys
not
argue.
I mean, to me, it's you look at what the characters do, and that's Constantine's style. He's also very patient when he needs to be.
Yeah.
Although I congratulate you for the first time in 3 seasons using the name of the show for your argument. It's called the knockout. So I give you cred there. So
I mean, the Phoenix Force is a cosmic entity. It has had like its personality, I think, has changed depending on who's writing it. I think Jason Aaron, for example, is a very different take on it than some other writers, and like, now having history back to like Thor and things like that. So they're two separate beings, and I think does Jean Grey become Phoenix and she's mentally unstable? Not necessarily, but I think anytime you have a human being that is, no matter the connection or whatnot, there's got to be a lot there that's going to impact you, because even seeing other individuals like Rachel Gray, when she was taken over by the Phoenix, she utilized the Phoenix, she didn't go to the same length as Jean Grey because of just the challenge that could be there. So yeah, like it I think like I said, I think John Constantine is a patient man. He's convinced other individuals to hurt themselves in some horrific ways before when necessary. So I think it's not going to be easy. Like I said, Phoenix is probably top 5 strongest characters in the DC Marvel universe, but
see, I don't even think Phoenix even needs to make it into this match. I mean, I fully believe that Jean Grey, being a telepath and a telekinetic on her own, can handle John Constantine and anything that he can throw at her.
Yeah, I can't agree with that, because again,
if he's irritating her, she can just make him stop talking.
But that's, I mean, Jean Grey, it's not like Jean Grey is invincible. We've seen her, be taken out by non-telepaths before. And again, John Constantine isn't someone. No, but his mind can't be read easily, like with other characters. He's dealt with telepaths in the past.
You sure with that? You just said earlier that there's no telepaths in the DC.
There's not to the same level as a Professor X, but he's dealt with,
or Jean Grey.
I mean, he's dealing with demons on a daily basis. Like, if anyone's going to try to read your mind, it's going to be a demon or Satan. They're other realities.
Yeah, I thought they were the manipulators, and they didn't need to read your mind because they would just get you to play upon your darknesses and your weaknesses.
Not necessarily.
So I wouldn't assume a demon would have telepathic abilities.
Some do, and like I said, he has dealt with psychics before, and he showed a capability of fighting against them. The most recent series in Hellblazer, this entire issue of someone attempting to read his mind and utilize his mind against it, and he's able to fight against it. Like, I think it's issue 11 of the recent, or 10 of the most recent series. He has fought against people attempting to manipulate him. He doesn't. The thing with Hellblazer and John Constantine's romance is that a long part of his history is that he's not in the DC universe. Usually, the best Constantine books, Hellblazer books, are not within the DC universe, so he's not dealing with superpower beings like a superhero. They have obviously recently changed that, although now it's back to being outside of it. I don't know. They kind of go back and forth. But
sure, but the point here that I'm making is that she doesn't need to shut him down telepathically. What I'm saying is that she can read his mind, right?
I don't think she can.
At the very least, she'd be able to discern his intentions, right?
She'd be the first.
I'm sorry, what?
She'd be the first to discern Constantine's intentions.
Okay, if he's planning to attack her. So here's the thing. I haven't figured out yet how Constantine intends to defeat her besides talking her to death.
Like I said, I think he defeats her by utilizing Phoenix against her. He defeats her by causing her to go insane. He defeats her by bringing her into an entirely different. Bringing her to an entirely different time and place than she exists now. He has been able to move throughout different dimensions and leave her there and say goodnight. I mean,
so now he can travel through time and just leave her
he's
there?
traveled through time. He's gone through different dimensions. I mean, he's gone through, like, he's utilized different dimensions to gain power. It's cost him in different ways, but it's a capability he has shown.
And Jean Grey would just let him do that.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
How does Constantine usually fight? My experiences with the character is a few episodes I've seen on Legends of Tomorrow and a few of the DC animated shows. I'm not quite familiar or quite sure how Constantine fights. I've seen him throw.
He utilizes spells, he utilizes artifacts, he has a lot of protection on himself beforehand. He utilizes people. He'll get assistance when necessary. Like but he has. I mean, there's a reason when Batman has an issue with the occult, he goes to John Constantine, because Constantine knows that world really well. So he will steal power if necessary. Like most recently in DC's, for example, went around different worlds, and took different powers to take on this, different cosmic beings. He's stolen Shazam's powers, for example, to utilize them when necessary. So
also
magic.
Yeah,
but he tends to. The thing with Hellblazer, it's that the best Hellblazer books aren't like John Constantine fighting people. Those aren't the type of stories that typically involve Constantine. He's not someone who's going to run in head first and have this massive battle. Sometimes they do happen, but again, he picks his spots. He's very manipulates people when necessary. And then, like I said, the other part is the hard thing about killing John Constantine is that no one wants him. Heaven hates him. Hell hates him. I mean, legitimately, I don't like. I think we're glossing over the fact that literally dated Satan, like a god or whatever you want to qualify him as. So and he went through and had a bad breakup and survived that. I guess I don't see how I don't think the Phoenix is much more powerful than Satan. So would he be? And he was able to go through that and survive and manipulate Satan in some instances as well. So again, I think it's easy to underestimate John Constantine because he is just a human, but he's a different type of human.
You don't scare me. I dated my ex. Yeah, that'd be a fun argument there. So, do either of you guys have any arguments that you haven't brought up yet, or do you want to go ahead and start wrapping things up with final arguments?
No, that's all I got. I mean, it's this was the least looking at the matchups. I'm I don't want Phoenix because it's but I'm yeah, I don't know how well he did, but we'll see how it goes.
No, you're doing well. You're bringing out ideas I think that a lot of people haven't really heard about John Constantine in the past.
If anything to get out of this, read the most recent Hellblazer series that ended last year. It's fantastic. It got canceled way too soon. So even if I lose this, read that because it's really worth your time by Simon Spurrier and a few others. So.
And I like the character. I just like I said, I mean, walking into this, I'm I mean, I don't see the qualifications to go up against, somebody like Jean, right? Because I don't see a situation that she's not going to be able to anticipate or at the very least react to, and if she needs to get into a situation where there's, an excessive amount of force required, it won't take much to deal with Constantine. Constantine's foes, yes, they're mostly arcane. They're hellspawn, demonic. They're whatever creatures of hell and other dimensions. I get it, totally do, but that's not something that Phoenix or Jean Grey can't deal with. Right? Or
have you seen Jean Grey or the Phoenix deal with magic before?
You know what? That's a really good question, and that's probably why this matchup is a little bit uncommon. Is because you don't see the X-Men deal with magic in that aspect. Yeah. So then I think that's where the imagination of the voter can kind of put that into perspective for themselves. Yeah. It's how she'd be able to handle that. What I know of my experiences with Constantine is that incantations require the use of motor skills, right? Whether it's the use of your hands, using an object, manipulating an object, or speaking an incantation. she's going to be able to stop that before it's completed, right?
Perhaps she may not know what's coming. I think that's his best.
But again, being a telepath gives her the ability to at least read, how that situation can come out.
I just like that. That's the biggest question, is if she'd be able to read his mind. And I think John Constantine's smart enough to know he lives in a world that superheroes exist, and there are superheroes out there that can read people's minds. And if anyone doesn't want their mind read, it's most likely him. So my assumption would be he probably has something, just in there just to begin with, because he always has a target on himself. So that's my question. Is I don't know if, not knowing how Phoenix would handle magic. I don't know.
Somebody starts speaking to her. Somebody she's fighting starts speaking to her in a language that she doesn't. That's not English. It's not going to be that difficult to kind of get an idea. Based on his power set, to be able to just get him to stop talking, right? Whether that's using a telekinetic grab just to keep his jaw shut.
If he can hear him, because like I said, the thing about Constantine is he'll run away if necessary, do what's needed, then come back. Like he's not someone who.
And then she'll have to find a way to protect against that. But it would have to be a significant spell. And I'm not hearing any specific spells that's going to take her out.
I wasn't allowed to, study witchcraft as a kid. I probably should have done some more.
But you've read enough; you would know a spell that Constantine would use.
I think the way he treats it, like I said, is the same way he treats treated Darkseid, or similar to the way he's dealt with things like Phantom Strangers and being able to manipulate them with, I don't know the exact spells. I don't know that off the top of my head, but
just gonna light a cigarette and go, bring it on.
Yeah, and the other thing too is he's not afraid to. I think calling help would be cheap, so I won't bring that up. But he is someone who's willing to say this is not for me, this is for somebody else. But again, I think that's unfair, so I don't think I can count that.
Cool. Well, let's go ahead and wrap things up with closing statements. Then we can get to voting, which I've dropped a link several times in there for anyone voting, or for either you guys to send to friends and family. So take it away, Dan, with your closing statement for John Constantine.
So I think the biggest question here, as we mentioned, is magic versus the Phoenix. Something we really haven't seen to a great extent. Does magic have the versatility to take on someone like the Phoenix? And like I said, most specifically Jean Grey. And I feel like it does. Like I mentioned, John Constantine's not someone to be intimidated. He's someone who will, he plays things smart. He knows when he'll be bested and, run to live another day. And as I mentioned, Jean Grey can be manipulated. Yes, it may take some time, as we mentioned, but the thing is about Mastermind, he was looking to control her. John Constantine would be looking to end her, and might play it a little bit quicker. Like I said, it's not going to be easy, but the thing about Constantine, like I mentioned, is that it's also somewhat hard to kill him. Many people have tried, including, the people that rule the afterlife, and they haven't been successful. Considering that, I think John Constantine would hold his own against Phoenix.
Awesome. All right. What does Jean Grey have to say?
I completely disagree. I think that she would end him quickly, shut him down, and he wouldn't even be a threat. That's not hubris talking. That's just, understanding the capabilities of the character. Just starting with the idea that the person's an adversary she's not going to take lightly, especially if he's dealing in magic, which is not something that I would say that she's had an excessive amount of experience with, right? Most mutants don't deal with magic. Simple facts are that she could prevent him from performing any kind of incantation or usage of a magical artifact or whatnot before it could, even hurt her. She's got enough raw power to be able to protect herself, unless there's some specific spell or something that I'm not aware of that could be used against her. And then, we can talk about, that particular situation. And worst comes to worst, if he becomes too much of a threat, she could pretty much reduce him to atoms. So, which is not something that she would want to do, but, you push somebody far enough or they become enough of a threat, sometimes you got to put the final stop.
Very interesting. Well, so real quick question then, I guess, since we haven't had much traffic here. does Jean Grey know that Constantine is coming for her? Or is that gonna be a surprise? We'll ask that question real quick while people are off to be voting. So
my choice would be no, because Constantine's not someone that's going to announce his presence or try to he would try to be sly with it. I mean, she does have, being the psychic being, she may be able to have some understanding that it's coming, but my thought would be John Constantine would do everything in his capabilities to make himself seem like no threat at all, until he has the opportunity to take advantage of her.
All right, and your response real quick, and then we will go ahead and finish. But definitely just.
Well, I guess I would have to understand the point of this of the matchup here. Are we just assuming that she's going to get cheap shotted, right? Which makes him the aggressor. So anything that comes up, unless it's a final maneuver, then she's going to be coming back a lot stronger.
Okay. All right. So the link is down. You guys are free to vote for yourselves, or text a message off real quick. Give it a minute or two for any lingering possible votes to come in. This has been a slower matchup than usual. Maybe it's just being a Thursday. Maybe it's just other things going on. Who knows? But I prefer not to vote, obviously, unless there's an absolute tie. So I hope there's more than a few votes, but it's up to the chat. So that's why I try and get the link up at least several days in advance, so you guys can bring in all the support you can. So Jean Grey is, it can be. You should be reactive. Constantine is slow. Constantine is a type of character out of necessity. A tactical
Absolutely, because he doesn't have any offensive weapons, or at least nothing specific. He's got to adapt to his situation.
Yeah. I always when I seen Constantine on the shows and all that, he seems definitely like he's always thinking, always a talker, always thinking, always trying to outsmart you. And so it does seem like he'd be the kind of person who can't handle power, just because of while I was wasting your time, you didn't notice this left punch over here coming your way. So it's just
kind of like the Columbo of one more thing, and then actually.
So. Well, we got some more people, looks like, coming in finally, but who knows? Like I said, a few more minutes or whatever, a minute or two. Link is active here, and then we'll vote here real quickly. So I'll go ahead and bring up the page while we're waiting for the last few. Actually, what I need to do, I didn't quite get myself prepared like I wanted to. I made a mistake. Where is it? There we go. Normally I'm a little more prepared, but I was a little too lazy after my day of work. It was a real hell of a morning for me. All right. Yeah. Well, you should have seen me. Like I said, I put together wood furniture and all that, and I those rubber mallets. Every once in a while I just got pissed off and I just started beating the wood with a hammer. So it's just one of those days. It was just So, all right, about 30 more seconds, and we'll ring up the total. So, and whoever does, like I said, this is not the end for either of the contestants. I have the in the chat below, or on the chat in the description below, the battle royale link. So whoever gets the most vote, or the two characters who get the most votes throughout the season, will meet up together for a final matchup to see who's the best of the best. This is like a battle royale, like a Hunger Games kind of thing, all for one. So if Jean Grey or Constantine lose, they can still win.
Come back and kick somebody else's ass.
Yeah.
That would be very John Constantine to lose and come back. I mean, that is kind of.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask earlier. Was like, is this would he have like a strategic retreat briefly, and the match would end later?
Oh yeah, he'd also run away. I mean, he's but going to hell isn't it's not like it'd basically be another day for him, because it's not like he's not been there before. So.
Yeah.
Also, we go to hell. Who knows?
Very funny, Rock City. So, all right, here we go. The results are Jean Grey with 3 votes and John Constantine with 1. So Jean Grey
It's fair.
moves on to the second round. So, very congratulations,
Matt.
What?
And who are we up against?
You will be facing off against, I think, either Sinestro or Green Lantern. Whoever wins that matchup.
That's a tough matchup.
Yeah, well, I love how I set it. Like I said, I have all the characters set up, and then the random will put you guys together. So that's how, Constantine met up with Jean Grey. And so, all right, we got Sinestro. Who is he going up against? And it stopped on Green Lantern. It's just like,
Seriously?
I busted out laughing, going like, it was live. You guys saw. I didn't rig it. So hey, positive side, both both contestants have a lot of material they can sift through for arguments.
Maybe it'll be a draw and you get a bye next round. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, it won't be a draw because if it's a tie, I'm casting the vote. So
Yeah, I'm just being facetious, but
yeah, obviously. So all right.
So I do
thank
want
you.
to show this, Matt, real fast before we go. So in final preparation for the show, I pulled this guy out.
nice.
Official
Those are always
Handbook
fun.
of the Marvel Universe, Book of the Dead and Inactive.
All right.
It's got a nice write up on the whole history of Jean Grey, her power sets, and everything like that. So that was a good use of the Marvel handbooks.
Yeah, very cool. So thank you very much, Dan, for joining us. I'm sorry you didn't make it to the second round.
I didn't expect to win. Like I'm like, there's no. Once I saw it was Phoenix, I'm like, well, this will be a quick matchup. I'll try my best, but it's
no, you did really good. It was a valiant.
I thought the Cosmic Spider-Man would wipe the floor with Zatanna, but she wiped the floor with him. So it happens. It all depends on if we had 3 times the watchers, it very easily could have been, hey, Constantine's my man kind of a thing. I voted for him all the way. So
right.
There's a lot of Constantine fans though, but they're a quiet bunch maybe, or they're later night owls. So maybe this was like 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah. So it all is. So, but Mr. Aficionado, congratulations. You move on to the second round with either Sinestro, which is argued by Southern Comic Geek, or Green Lantern, which I believe is argued by Tim the Comic Collector. So one of those 2 guys, I believe. So I guess you can just tune in for the next matchup to see spy on your enemy and see how their arguments go. So
yeah, absolutely. Check that out.
Kind of thing, so. But then again, like I said, plenty of material to go through. So at least it's in the same universe this time, so you have some stuff. So, all right. Well, come on. I thought Spider-Man. Of course, me being the Spider-Man fan, I had to throw a Spider-Man character in every single season. Just one character, just to hope that one time he'll make it to the end and be a champion. Oh well,
Sadly,
one of these days here in season like 50, maybe I'll win finally, or so. All right, oops, didn't mean to do that. All right, so thank you guys for joining me. Stay tuned, everyone, for the next episode of with Knockout. Like I said, Sinestro versus Green Lantern. This will be a very fun matchup that's in more than just the knockout. This one's actually in continuity, so we got plenty of material to dig through. What will your guys' sources be? Jeff Johns or Silver Age? What are you guys gonna dig through for this Sinestro versus Green Lantern? I look forward to this. All right, take care, everyone. Stay tuned for the next show. Happy collecting, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.
Yeah.